And yet again, the Pinewood Derby car.
Yet again. So we got the roof glued on. It looks kind of like an old sedan, right?
Yeah.
But we want to cut this bumper, I think. That's what I think we got to do. We got to sand that a little better. It's got a big old gouge there. We'll sand that before we get done, right? So I think what we should do, look, found a real pencil this time.
Yeah.
So instead of this little one I've been using, found a real pencil. So I think we should cut this down on a nice straight line so we have a bumper.
But that bit's gonna stay. We're only really gonna cut out that bit.
We're going to cut it down to the bottom where this bumper is. Right here. So I think we had it marked out, and then I sanded our marks off a little bit because we had a little gouge in there where we glued the pieces on.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can get this somewhat straight. I think. So you want that much bumper? So this part will stay. Is that about right? That's where we had it before, I think, just about.
I think that's about right.
Okay. And then we're going to run this down each side. And we're going to cut that all off and leave a bumper on the back. Huh?
Ah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. So let's get these shims in here so we can put this in the vise without scratching all our sanding up, right? So we're going to lock it in this way, because I think we'll cut down first. See if we can get in the vise. So we'll lock that in there, not too tight, we don't want to crush anything, but pretty good, right? Alright. Let me see if I can find that saw we made. Somewhere in here we have a saw. There it is.
We made a saw?
I made one. I don't know if you were helping for that or not, but we made this little saw here with a back.
We ought to engrave some stuff on the handle.
Well, I put some engravings on that part, see?
Ah.
I could probably put some more on this side too, but you know, it's just a saw, right? All right, so this saw, you're going to cut. We're going to try to cut right down this line. Remember, this is the part we want to leave, so we want to stay on this side of our line, right? This might not be the right saw for this. We'll have to see. See if we can get it started here. We might need a finer tooth saw. See how it's kind of fighting me? Let's see if I got a finer tooth one. I think I got one with a little bit finer teeth.
Speaking of fine teeth, to all people using jeweler saws, be careful on them. These blades go twain very easily.
Yeah, but they're cheap, right?
Yep.
They're not too, and you buy them in a big pack. So this tube that I was knocking the blades out of, I think there's 10 blades in this little tube, and they're not very expensive, so they last a little while. It's okay. They're not that expensive. It's not like if you broke this blade, you'd be in trouble, right? That'd be a mess. But those aren't too bad. Yeah, this will work, I think. This isn't curved though. See this? The teeth aren't set. Remember we talked about saw set?
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is it's going to bind up once we get a little farther in there. All right, you want to come on this side? You might need your step stool. Think you need a step stool? Now this one didn't come with a back. I put this back on there. It was a cheap saw, and it came like this. But it's a nice thin blade. But see how flippy that is?
Yeah.
That ain't gonna do us no good. It needs to be stiffer. So I put this brass back on it. All I did was fold a piece of brass over and put it on there, and now look. Stiffer, right? Alright, so grab onto that blade. Now, remember, angle. So where's your line at? Line up. Look, if you laid it down, see, you're looking on this side of the blade now, right? If you laid this down, are you going to cut it in your next to your line or across it?
Hopefully across it.
Well, you don't want to cut across it. You want to cut next to it right there, right? So you see how moving this changes our cut?
Yeah.
We want to keep it nice and straight. So we don't want to push down. Okay, you're pushing down. So, there you go, just lightly. We're going to keep track of our angle of our blade. Get it back in our cut.
Not too lightly.
Well, it'll cut. You just got to... We want to make sure we don't go down too deep on this side. hard. It didn't want to stay nice. Now once we get a good groove, it'll kind of stay in there, right? Kind of directs itself.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get this a little tighter. This thing still wants to move on us, doesn't it? All right, you're letting me do all the work again, big guy. Okay, you got to keep the angle. See how you're doing this?
Yeah.
You got to keep, once you get an angle, you can roll it back slowly, but you can't just keep rocking it back and forth. All right, let's rock it back into our cut a little bit. You don't went too far. All right, now we can go straight. So we're down about to our line on this side right here. We're actually a little past it. So now we need to cut from this side and try to get that line to go straight down. Can you see your line on that side? How far down we got to go still?
I think we're about there.
Okay, let's see, let me see. We're pretty close. Let's go a little couple more. All right, couple more cuts. There we go, nice and flat bottom. All right, so that's got that cut. Now, keep your shims. We want to cut down the top of it here, right?
Yep.
See if we can get our car in here with the tail overhanging a little bit.
Warning, do not park a real Dodge Charger in the vise.
Well, that'd be hard to do. That'd be kind of hard to do. All right. So you got to move your step stool. All right, I'm in the right spot for that. You're gonna cut sideways now. I'm gonna be cutting this direction now. So put your stool wherever you need it. Or are you tall enough without it, you think, for this cut?
I think I'm tall enough without it.
All right. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna line up our line. We want to be outside of our line. And this saw cuts in the backwards in the pull stroke, right? Which kind of makes it a little bit of a weird saw, but it makes it a little harder to, or a little easier to control a cut sometimes. All right, grab on the handle. You see how I was just kind of moving a little bit? All right, get straight behind it. This hand, and you want your shoulder right behind the cut. That way when you move your arm, it goes straight, see? Hold on, you're a little wild there. You have to sand that off now. Getting a little crazy, bud. Okay, be careful now, you're getting crazy. We want the straight cut to be straight without gouging up our trunk lid, right? That's the goal, right? Alright, so we missed our kerf, I think. Alright, now we got it straight. It'll stay in there, right? See how it's kind of straighten our cut?
Yep.
It's just getting it started, the hard part. Don't twist it though, because it'll still get crooked if you twist it. Oops, car's coming loose.
Now I'm twisting the car.
Yeah. Well, remember, this saw doesn't have much of a kerf. Remember, the teeth aren't set, so it's binding up. Can you feel it sticking?
Yeah.
It's because the saw doesn't have any teeth set, so it's binding up in the wood because we're cutting too fast. We want to cut nice and slow and give those teeth room to clear the wood. We're almost there. Ta-da!
Bye-bye.
All right, so now let's look at our bumper. Well, there's our bumper. It's pretty straight, not too bad. We got a little bit too much on this side and not enough on that side, but that's not too bad, right?
Yep.
I think we could fix that with some sandpaper.
And number 5 tenets.
That'll be a bumper. We need to smooth it all up, and then we'll chisel in some spots for the taillights, okay?
Already almost lost the taillights.
And we'll do that. So just kind of remember I told you to put your thumb on? Your thumb like this. Grab your paper. Just kind of knock that sharp edge off, right? Until you get where you want it. What do you think? Get her where you want it.
I think that's probably about good for a bumper.
Alright, so that's got all that.
If the taillight went all the way across, this might work.
Yeah, but it doesn't, does it? Alright, so what do you think? Bumper gonna work?
Bumper gonna work.
Looks a little bit like a bumper.
Yep.
We should have got a little bit cut too far in there, but we're going to use some sanding sealer, and I think the sanding sealer will get in there and fill that up. Alright, so if we're going to do these taillights, we need our shims back. We need to do these with a chisel.
Let me test the taillight fit.
Okay, well let's get on camera so they can see it if you're going to be playing with stuff.
The curves are going to fit pretty good on
Well,
the
it's not going to go to the edge. Remember, they're inset. So remember, they're inside.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to go to the edge.
It'll probably look better with curves near the edge, too.
It would if we needed the edge, but we don't. We'll make it work.
The emblem can go on the not curvy side.
We'll make it work. All right, get a car in there. Let me find our chisels.
If we had an RT emblem from a real Dodge RT, we could put the real Dodge RT emblem on the
I
roof.
think it'd probably be a little too big, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but we might be able to saw it to size and have a big old RT on the roof.
All right, so we want our taillights to line up on there. And that'll leave us some room here, right?
Yep.
So just draw a line where they go. All right, right against that. Let's get them sit in there and see if they look all right before we cut them in.
I think I'll look all right.
So we're gonna go in like that. Good.
Good.
It's a little crooked, but we'll probably make it crooked when we put the chisels in anyway, right?
Right.
Probably chisel a holes crooked anyway. All
It's a
right.
nice chisel set.
Yep, belonged to your great grandfather.
Some tools even survived my great grandfather.
Yep. Take
Even
care
though
of
he
them.
didn't last as long as his tools did.
You take care of them; they'll last a long time, right? All right. Now the problem with these chisels is, see, it's beveled on both sides.
Yeah.
And remember, we needed that straight edge.
Yeah.
We need a straight edge, so we're gonna have to use a tall chisel, big chisel, to do it first, because those are beveled on both sides, and we want something that's only beveled on one side to stab that in with. So let's start with a small chisel, because we want beveled on only one side. That way we can keep this flat side against the part we want to stay straight, right?
Right.
So draw a line around our reflector here. Wants to go right there. So we definitely don't want to cut too far. We don't want to go past there, and we don't want to go past here.
Put on only the reflector and not the whole trailer.
Get this one here too, and we'll do the same thing. We'll draw around it. Straight. Because we can always make the hole bigger, but we can't make it smaller, right?
Right.
Alright. So we're going to stay inside those lines to begin with. And then we'll widen them out. We know that this line here in the middle is about right though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tap her on top. Just a little bit. We ain't going that deep. Alright, tap her a little bit. Okay, tight, light, light, light.
Oops.
You're crashing them in there, bud. We're just barely tapping it. Hold on, ain't straight yet. Go. Alright. There you go. Alright, we're hitting end grain. So the end grain's really easy to stab into, right? Now we gotta be really careful on this top edge here, because if you hit it that hard on this top edge, it might blow out. So just tap it a little bit. There, you feel it moving a little?
Yeah.
So tap it a little harder than that. Just a little bit harder. There we go. We can probably actually do this with our body weight, but you're short, right? Because me doing this, probably just push it in since we're going to end grain. And we want to stay inside our lines, so we have more room to push against. We can trim it. Remember how we did the top? We stayed inside our lines, and then we trimmed it out. There we go. Alright, we're going to stay inside that line quite a bit, so go ahead and hit it there, and then we'll trim it out. Hold on, there you go. Go ahead. Alright, so those, we got to cut all the way around it, right?
Yep.
We got to get that wood out of there now, and I don't think any of these are going to be, it might be skinny enough. So I start in the middle, and I'm going to wiggle it a little bit to see if we can, because this is end grain, remember? See how it's not splitting. Remember we peeling off sheets before?
Yep.
This is all end grain, so see it's breaking off the little fiber like a bunch of little straws, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to hit that. Here, mount it. We don't want to hit that end grain too much because it'll break off like a bunch of straws. So we don't want that. Yeah, it's not going to hold in the vise good enough for me to do that, is it?
And
This might not be sharp enough. We might need
did
to sharpen
anyone say
those.
this bench also belonged to my great-grandfather?
Different great-grandfather, but yeah, the workbench came from other great-grandfather.
I have like millions of great-grandfathers.
Well, 4 traditional.
What?
We don't want to blow out our wood, so we want to stay inside our lines. Alright, mallet. And I'll hold it here, and you can tap on it. Come on, we're going to go all the way in line. A little bit harder. There you go. Hold on. Got your line up. Alright, going. Not moving very good. Hit her again. Hitting that end grain. It's got to cut all that end grain off. There you go. A little bit, right?
Yep.
We're going to go this way towards the middle from this side, right? Car won't stay in the vise, will it? See it? Let's see if we can get that out with a curved chisel, and then we'll square it up. Because you see what's happening is we're moving the whole bunch of wood. See if we can do this. See how that takes out a little curved groove?
Yeah.
And we can wiggle it. Because it's curved, it allows us to rock like this and make a sawing motion. And we'll just clean it up with the square one after. Because this is curved, we can kind of rock it back and forth and make like a sawing motion, but its end grain is the problem. We have to cut it. It won't peel it up like it did our other cuts. Because the thinner the chisel is, the easier it is to push in the wood, right? But that comes with a problem. So this is a really skinny chisel, so it'll go into the wood real easy, but it also will tear out wood real fast. So if you push this one, you can kind of come in here on the edge. So what we want to do is we want to go see my line here.
Mm-hmm.
Line up our tail light and see. We want to make it the hole bigger now. I think we're deep enough. But see how it's not big enough?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go along our line. So we're going to take this and put it right on our line. And we're going to stab straight down. Remember how we did the other chisel?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did that line. See this line over here?
Yep.
We're going to do that. You want to do the long line first or the short one?
I think I'll do the short one, then the bottom long line.
Okay. Push down. Straight. Now you're twisting it. You push straight down. Feel it go into that wood?
I might need a stool.
Okay. Bring it over.
I can really get high enough to heave myself into it.
I'm not sure why you moved the stool all over there. Why'd you move it out of the way to begin with? Alright. Push down. Okay. Push down. Hold on. Yeah, might have got that one enough. Alright. So that makes it longer. Now we need to go across the bottom. Let's see how far across the bottom we need to go. That should be about the right width. We might have to trim it out a little bit more, but not too bad. So do you want to go up or just down? See, we're under our line here, but it puts it right on the bumper.
I think I would like him to go right on the bumper.
Well, they are right on the bumper, aren't they? So let's just go down then. Let's find our small chisel. You might be able to use this long one since you're up high. Okay. Let me get it started here. Alright. So remember we start with a corner?
Yep.
And put your hand on it, and then roll it into the cut. Making sure we keep track of our line, right? Alright. And then we're going to move it down a little bit. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to roll it into our line.
I can feel it cutting.
Uh-huh. Roll it into the line. All the way to the end. Now you're twisting it. Can you feel the handle doing this?
Yeah.
You got to hold it straight. Otherwise, it'll make a crooked line. We don't want a crooked line. Hold on. Too far forward. You got to get it in the right spot. Alright. So there's that. Let's get that wood cleaned out and we'll see if our tail light fits. Alright, let's see what we got. Getting closer. So we're not quite popping down though. Feel it hitting? So we're not quite popping down. We make it just a little bigger. And this is all we're going to do is we're going to just keep trimming it up until it fits. Little pieces of wood at a time until it fits in there. I think.
I like a lot. I like a lot.
You want to go deeper, or you think that's just good?
I think that's just good.
You don't want to go any deeper?
Then we just need to glue them in, right?
Yeah, we're going to glue them in when we're done.
Then we'll paint it. Maybe in part 3.
I think we're already on part 3. This has turned out to be a pretty long video project, you know what, compared to our normal videos. But that's alright. It's been fun, right?
Yep.
It's been pretty fun.
We can only make videos a certain length of time.
Well, we usually like to keep them pretty short, mostly because it's hard for me to upload them, right?
Yeah. And it takes forever to edit.
Yeah, it does take a long time to edit them too, doesn't it? I'm going to teach you how to do that, and you can edit your own videos.
Maybe I do too many jokes or too many stupid jokes, either that.
Well, most of it, we're just working, and it's boring to watch people work, right?
Yeah.
A lot of, like, the sanding took forever, and even some of the sawing took forever, right? It's not very exciting to watch. So we edit out some of that.
But you might not have to edit out the boring parts if I throw in a whole lot of hilarious jokes.
I guess. I don't know. You got that many hilarious jokes?
Oh, I got a lot of them.
Yeah? All
You
right.
heard the one about the whole trailer on the back of the car?
You said something about that. All right, so we got that part done. Mallet. And do this one too. So we already cut that end in, right? So let's stay inside our line like that one. Give her a couple taps. All right. End grain, remember? End grain.
In green.
Tap it again. Tap, tap, tap. We're not driving nails. We're not driving nails, dude. Alright. Stay inside these lines too. It doesn't take much to drive it into the end grain. It's hard to cut it off though. Which is what we're having trouble with, right? Getting the end grain to cut clean. Getting it set in, not so bad. Oh, there. One more tap. Alright, go on, hit a grin. There you go. Alright, same thing. Now we need to get this wood out of there, right? I think we're going to try this veiner tool first though, because it allows us to scoop it out a little bit. And when I rock it like this, see, it makes it cut.
Yeah.
Because we got to cut that end grain, and that kind of saws it off instead of trying to just force our way through it like with the straight chisel. That wasn't working very good. Remember how we did it with this one last time by just pushing on it?
Yeah.
So let me line it up here.
Come on.
Okay, push down on it. Without twisting it, remember, it's got to go straight down. You're twisting it all over the place. Push down on it. Alright. You shouldn't have to push that hard. Go ahead. A little gentle push. You're forcing it, dude. Just a little gentle push. There you go. I can almost do it with my fingertips. You know? Because end grain, we're not cutting wood, we're splitting it kind of. Like if you're splitting firewood.
Yep.
We're not actually cutting through the wood, we're just kind of dividing it. And it doesn't take a lot of force to do that.
Make sure you split the wood and not the fire. A note to all parents, do not let kids use extra sharp knife.
Well, you're supposed to be getting where you could. You have your knife, your wood badge, right?
Yep.
You learn how to use knives safely.
But that's only usually good for a pocket knife.
Well, this is an extremely sharp knife, but they all work about the same, right?
And the best thing I'm good at is whittling.
Well, that's basically all this is. I'm just using the very sharp point of this. One of the other tricks we can do is, since we're setting this in wood, if we file this at a slight angle, not straight, it'll slide into the wood easier, because the sharp corner of that plastic will try to push the wood out of the way. If we put a slight bevel on it, it'll pop in and kind of push the wood out of its way rather than smooshing on top of it. You going to help me do other projects too, or are you just going to do Pinewood derbies and then let me do all the other woodworking here?
Pinewood derby. All of it, I meant.
All of it meant? I have some other woodworking we can do.
I was about to say Pinewood derby and all the rest of it.
Alright. Because I do have some more inletting of parts I need to do that we could practice with chisels. And then you can learn to do it. Because right now you're just kind of watching me do it, right?
Yeah.
But you know the basics of it, right?
Yup.
And you practice. And maybe by next year, you won't even need much of my help to make a Pinewood Derby car. Might be a hair crooked, but I think we're going to go with it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're going to go with it.
Got a little bit of sawdust under this one we need to clean up. These little chips.
Yeah.
Keeping our taillight from going down.
There's also a little sawdust in the axle holes.
Yeah, we'll get those cleaned up too. Taillights.
For a Dodge.
They're not the same level. Feel it. That one is lower than that one.
Yeah.
Take that one down a little bit more.
Yep. I was just looking at one of those giant saws up there, and I'm thinking that might take this whole thing down in like 5 seconds.
If you could keep it straight, right?
Yep.
That biggest saw that they can't see on camera is made for cutting logs, like out in the woods. It's not made for cutting like projects, it's made for cutting trees down. They can't see that one, but it's not quite a 2-man saw, but it's still a, you see the size of the teeth on that thing?
Ah.
They're big, right? Yeah, it's for cross-cutting logs that you would later bring in to make projects with. So you would cut it to length, and used to be you would split it with a hammer and a froe into rough size, and then you would use your planes and your saws to get it down to the finished size. Kind of like we did with this. Just keep removing wood.
Yep.
Till it's the right size, right?
I think I'm starting to feel like an old-time woodworker here.
Think so?
Yep. Or more like a woodworker assistant.
Well,
Yeah.
sooner or later, you're going to be the woodworker, because I have other stuff to do, you know what? Work on your own stuff. That's all right. The nice thing about hand tools is that you're probably old enough to use most of them right now.
Huh.
If you wanted to work on stuff, you could probably do that now.
Yeah.
All right, get the taillight in. All right, now what? About right? About the same?
Yeah, good enough.
Good enough? All right. That took a little bit. Wasn't too bad though, right?
Yep.
All right, so we'll get those in there. And then we got to figure out our headlights still. Taillight's done. You want like a license plate spot there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Just on the bumper.
Well, yeah, on the bumper.
Bumper.
My shim out of here.
You can probably just chisel a little nib.
Well, I think we might be able to saw that because it's a little bit higher than the rest of the car.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's get our taillights out of there so we don't scratch them
I think-
accidentally.
We should probably write Big D on a license plate.
There, get those out of there. And I bet if we take one of these little tiny saws, and we decide how big we want it, so we're going to need a pencil for that.
What you mean, it's tiny?
Want it to be centered, right? Probably ought to have it in the middle.
Probably oughta.
Alright, so if we're going to put it in the middle. How big do we want it? We want it bigger in this plate here, right?
Yep.
Not by much though, probably about, let's see. About that big?
Yeah, probably about that big. I think for the emblem, we probably ought to use red paint marker.
Yeah, we probably will. Alright, so that's going to be the license plate. Is that about the right size, you think?
Yeah, probably about the right size.
Alright, take this saw. Now, we don't want to cut into our back of our car, so we got to be very careful here. We're going to try to cut it straight. It shouldn't take very much, right? Just about like that.
But like that.
Now we need to get that wood out of there, right?
Then we need to find some good license plate material.
Yeah, I don't know what we'll use. We'll probably find something, I bet, though, right?
How about some white plastic?
This is going to go against the grain, too, or across the end grain. So let's see if we can...
Maybe we
some of that out of there first.
Barn for some white plastic, license plate
Maybe.
plastic. And we'll even take the camera out on the journey.
Think?
Yep.
I don't know if we have anything out there like that. Well, look. License plates are kind of reflective.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Have any old chopped up license plate bits?
I don't know. We might.
You could also use some shiny metal.
We still have to be aware of the weight of the car, too, remember. We can't go too heavy.
And all of you viewers who are maybe goofy enough to watch this probably do want to see the journey, right?
Alright, so now we got most of the wood out of here, but it's ingrained, so we can't really cut it. So we're going to take this, which is just a file, and we're going to smooth that out. We probably don't actually need a license plate at all. We could just write numbers on it. You know what I mean?
But
Paint it?
a plate might look more real.
Maybe.
Plus, we might be able to find some shiny gloss type paint.
So we're just trying to knock that corner off. You know that corner we just made with the file?
Yep.
That's probably pretty good. Go ahead and slide her off. Go ahead. And we're off there. And get this one too. Go the other way, yeah. 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 Alright, so we got a bumper. We got tail lights. We got a license plate spot. That's pretty much the back of the car, right?
Except for the red bumblebee stripe.
Yep, that's pretty much the back of the car, so we're good there. We gotta figure out the front of this thing.
Let's drill a few holes, get some 2 circular headlights in there, and a grill in the
Well,
center.
I think like we did the taillights, before we could drill the holes, what do we have to do?
Inset the grill.
We had to make lights. We don't have any lights yet, right?
That's probably why we should look in the barn.
Okay, so this has a square opening. You want the same kind of hollow square with the lights inset, or do you want to see what the real car looks like? Because the Lego car is not quite like the real car, right?
I think like the insets will just copy off the...
Off the Lego car?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just have headlights slightly over the grill. And
So we still got to find headlights. I was thinking about using these thumbtacks. Because we have these clear thumbtacks here. But what I couldn't decide is how to cut them while leaving them still clear. I wish we could cut them off right here. We could try cutting them off and then see what they look like cut off, and then maybe we can polish them. You want to see what that looks like?
yeah.
Let's see if we can do that. All right, we need to stick them somewhere we can cut them. Wonder if they'll just stick in the end of the bench. What do you think?
Yeah.
Maybe?
It's going to leave us a bit off camera.
Nowhere in camera.
Ah. Okay.
Alright, so we can put that there. And we can take our jeweler saw. Now there's a metal button in here. Can you see what I'm talking about? See that little where they glued the metal tack part in?
Yep.
So we're going to stay clear of that. So if we're going to use this jeweler saw, we want to stay off of that because it'll take forever to cut through that metal. You can file that off later. Alright, can you cut that?
I can dig it.
Alright, so get down there. You should be behind the saw. See how you're pulling it towards you?
Yeah.
Because you're not behind the saw. Here, move your stool. You want to be directly behind the saw. So all the way behind the saw.
Or
This.
else we will have to edit in the saw blade breaking
Alright.
music.
So you want to stay straight with it. Tell you what, hold on. We're going to go too far. Just in case we can't make that part work, see how this is also round? Let's cut it twice. Let's cut this part off first, right here. Plastic is sticking on my saw, isn't it? Cut it too fast. Got it melted.
Something that fine can melt the
And it
plastic.
still gets it hot. It's just friction, right? There we go. So now cut that one the rest of the way. Grab your saw. Try to cut it somewhat straight, okay? Oops. Dropped it. Come here. You get it off? Alright. One!
I dropped it.
That's alright, we don't need that part.
Oh.
I need the part we need, so it's okay.
Now the question is, how do we get it out of the bench?
Well, you screwdriver and pry it out of there. Because we got options. So we got this round part that came off the end. If we can buff it back to shiny, right? Let me get a screwdriver here.
I think that round part might make the best headlight.
Come on, get out there. There we go. And the same thing here. See this part we got left? There's a little dot in there, but if we stick this into the bench this way, make sure they can still see what we're doing. Move our car out of the room here. If we stick into the bench this way now, get straight, we can probably file that. All right, gonna try filing it flat?
Yeah.
Is it too far away? You're gonna put it back towards the edge so you can reach it? Let's see if we can get it right here.
I'm gonna squat on the stool, just so it makes it easier.
Well, I think it'd be easier if you're standing up. You can use your whole body. Well, it'll be easier if you're standing up. So we're gonna try to file this flat. So put your hands on there. All right, use your hand on the front of the file too so you can control it, because you're trying to control this rock. You don't want it to rock, you want it flat, right? So I usually pinch it a little bit with my fingers. Can you clear your fingers pinching it that way? I guess you can hold the top too. Just enough. Moving on our bench, isn't it? You see it rock forward on us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Rock forward on us. Hitting that metal. I don't know. We'll have to see if it's going to work on this one or if we want to just use those ones. See, it's sliding on our pin.
I think these would look better. We could just puff them.
So we got, they're different sizes though, see? If you look, you put the other one on there, put them together. This one is smaller than that one, so we can determine which size we need, right, for the car. So what we can look at, see how small, those kind of small.
That's too small.
So this one might be the better size.
I think that one's the better size.
Right, so what we got to do is we got to clean these up. See, the pin came out now that we cut the top of that plastic off. So if we can get this to cut flush, maybe we'll try cutting one flush and just pushing the pin out. Less file work. Let's stick her in the bench again. Get your saw. This time, let's cut right at the end of that bulb. See there where it rounds out?
Yep. Let me move my stool first.
Are you going to do it standing?
Yeah.
There we go. And we're going to hit that metal. So if you feel it hit the metal, stop. Turn it. Should be hitting the metal. You feel it hitting the metal yet? Yeah, it's hitting it, I think. Alright, so let's turn this. Okay, I'll cut it this way too.
I feel like cutting metal.
We're getting out of the metal. There we go. We gotta get all the way through the plastic though so we can push that metal out, right? Alright. So now we should be down that metal all the way. Break that off. And see now that little pin will push out. See it?
Yeah.
When that pushes out, we can save those. We might even be able to use those to put them back in with. And then if we can polish this up, if we polish that up, it might make a good headlight.
I'm going to save this other pin too.
Yep, that might make a good headlight if we polish that up. If it doesn't, we can try something else, right?
Yep. This one looks pretty good on a Lego car, so if we could drill a hole, I might have some curvy Lego headlights.
Well, I don't think we need to make new Lego headlights. Legos come with headlights. Alright, cut this one off too.
I'm ready to be a jeweler.
Cut that one off too. Right there at the, there you go, right there. Oh, get on it. You're bouncing around. There you go. When you get down, turn it. When you get to where you hit the metal, hit the metal.
Yeah.
Alright, put it in the same spot, cut some more. You're twisting it. Look at the angle of your blade. See? You want to get straight. So move your body, your whole body. There you go. Wherever your arm's going to go straight. I think you're not using your shoulder, you're using your belly. I would want to be next to it, but you seem to want to use your belly. Alright, you're off your line. Watch where you're cutting. Hold on, let's turn her. Alright, cut some more. Oh, got her stuck. You got her stuck. So go for a minute so I can get it unstuck. There you go. There you go. One more. It's got 4 headlights, right?
Yep. Well, I think in maybe, what was that, part 2, I broke my first fishing saw blade.
Yeah, it's all right. All right, so we don't need those. Pull this out of there. Push that nail out. All right, so we got 4 of these. Now we're gonna have to make them nice and smooth. You know what? I'm thinking maybe we'll sand them. If we use a light sandpaper on them, they'll be a little bit scratched up, and that might look kind of neat. We can try. If we don't like it neat, we can polish them maybe, right?
Maybe we need a picture of the wheel dodge so we can see the
I
headlights.
think we're gonna cut this one off a little more. Well, I was trying to ask you about a minute ago. So I think if we sand these, they won't be so shiny, but they might look really cool. So let's see if we can find some really light sandpaper and see if we can smooth these up. And if they don't look cool, we can just cut some more thumbtacks, right?
Yep.
If we don't like it, we can just make another one.
If we don't like that one, we can just make another one.
And you make another one until we run out, right?
Yep.
So what we end up with is like that. Do you think we should round it off more? Sand all of it?
I think that's actually probably pretty good.
You like it?
I like it.
It'll have a little bit of a flat spot in the middle, but I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. Right?
Not like they're about to be a quartz crystal clock movement thingy.
What do you think about the headlights?
I like it a lot.
They're gonna work?
Yep.
All right. So,
Now we'll need to see if I have space for 4.
I think we do. We'll probably have to do it like we did the backlights, right?
Yeah.
We'll have to get our pencil and our ruler. So you want to make sure we get the middle of the car marked, right?
Yup.
Make sure they're relatively straight.
Oh, there's your taillights.
Get them mostly straight.
Maybe we should tag in the headlights too. Taillights, I meant too.
I think we're going to glue them. I think we'll glue those. All right. And the same thing with this. This doesn't have much of a bumper, but it has a tiny little bumper, right? So we're going to mark it so our headlights don't go all the way down to the bottom.
It's a bit of a gray rim all the way around.
Yeah. We're going to make sure our headlights don't go all the way down. So we need that much at least on the bottom, right?
I think we'll do the gray rim around the grill with paint marker.
Probably.
Same with the art, you know.
There we go. Now, same thing on the top. We don't want our hood to get busted out, right?
That'd be a really real engine blowout.
And what we end up with is a spot here that's hopefully big enough to fit our headlights. So let's see. Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so we're going to do that. And the same thing here on the front. It has sides too. I wonder if the sides should be square or if we should match the curve of the car.
I think they should be square.
Because that way matches the curve of the car and looks pretty neat.
Yeah, I think we ought to do the curve. Might be just a scaled up replica of this Lego car.
Well, I thought that was the plan.
But I think the tacks going in the center of the wheels will just make the little shiny spot in the center.
Alright, so what we wanted to do is we wanted to inset them first. First thing I do is all this wood in the middle, we need to take that out, right?
Right.
We'll probably have to do that with a chisel again. Because that was exciting television to watch, right? Super, super exciting to watch.
Snore.
Well, I'm trying to wonder if we could drill it first with the drill.
About time I had another job.
Yeah, I wonder if we could drill it. And if we drilled it first, then we could just clean it up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see if we can maybe drill it. Let's get our car in the vise.
I'll get the drill.
I think one of them's out here. That one's out here.
If I can find it.
That one there, we got that one. We have the small egg beater one. I don't know which drill works best for this. We'll have to see.
I think it was the big brace.
Now, we need to keep these drills in the center, so I picked these drill bits on purpose, because if you look at this drill bit, see that point?
Yeah.
That's a brad point drill bit. And what happens is, if we set this in the middle, so I can draw a pencil line here in the middle, that bit will stick in and it'll keep our drill bit from walking all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to set this right in the middle.
Because the wood looks similar.
That look pretty centered?
Pretty centered.
Alright. So what we're going to do, and I don't know if this drill gets big enough, but if we set this right here on this line, to where it lines up with that line, when we drill down, it'll make a nice kind of roundish hole. And see the bit, see it can't move away?
Yeah.
The bit holds it in place. Now we're going to control the depth of this, okay? So we just want to go kind of like our taillights. We don't want to go too deep, right? So you want to hold it straight. You want to turn around and keep it straight up and down. You turn it. Alright, so let's see how deep we are. A little crooked, because you're wobbling all over the place. Alright, so we'll figure out how deep we want this, because we're going to remove the wood to a flat spot, right?
I don't think a hanging down license plate on the front would work.
Well, you don't need a license plate on the front for all states. A lot of states don't require them.
Maybe this will be
So we got that one there.
different state charger.
Oh, right there.
So if you're from Illinois and you go to Indiana and then your front plate falls off, you're fine.
Alright. You can push down here and turn that while holding it straight. Slowly. Too crazy. So I got the other one kind of crooked, which is going to chisel it out, so it won't matter, but you want to make sure you get it straight. Got her?
Maybe we'll drill 4 holes.
Well, we're going to do more than 4 holes. We're going to try to cut this whole middle on, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Alright, I'll push down. You turn handle. Alright. See how deep we are. So we want to go deep enough to definitely clear our headlights. So it's got to be deep enough to clear these. So we at least got to go deep enough to clear those, plus probably a little extra, because the headlights are back in here a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. We also need room for an emblem.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, folks, more emblems. Maybe we ought to draw it on here before it insets too much.
Let's mark our drill bit for how deep we want to drill so we can get our holes roughly the same depth. What do you think?
Yeah.
So you think that's deep enough, or you think we should go deeper?
We probably ought to go just
A hair deeper?
hair deeper.
Probably not that deep though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you might not want to go that deep. I went a little crazy on that one.
We could go that deep just to fix it.
Well, we can just put wood back in it too. Give me a good clean bottom. Or to the drill bit. That deep enough? That's deep enough. That's about perfect right there, right?
That's deep enough.
Alright, so we're going to take this tape. Hold that up. Hold that. Take this tape, and we're going to hold up straight. Straight, man. Come on. What are you doing? We'll put this on here, and it'll work like a flag. As we cut down, when we get to the right depth, this tape will start to drag. Right? See how it drags our wood?
Yep.
And then we'll know we're deep enough, right? So we not have this one too deep. That would bust our tape up, right? Alright, so we got 2 holes. Put another one right next to this one. Start turning her. And you're going to watch our flag and make sure we get down deep enough to where that tape starts to rub. Do it slow, you're watching the flag, right? Well, right about there. Are we touching? See the tape dragging?
Yeah.
Well, that's where we need to be then, right?
I guess if we are doing a Lamborghini, a deeper taillight, then the turn signal would actually work. Maybe we should do... we've already done a Lamborghini.
Well, we only get 1 car this year. Right?
Yeah.
Alright, drill her down. Turn the handle. And watch your flag. You're trying to crank her down until the flag touches. A little bit more. A little bit more. See the sawdust still staying on there? It's not getting swept off all the way?
Yeah.
Go down a little more, it'll sweep it off. Now we're starting to touch, right? We want to take the whole middle out square though, you said, right?
Yeah.
And then inset the headlights behind it? So let's drill another hole right here in the middle. You don't want the emblem to stand proud, right?
No.
You want it to all be flush? I mean, it does stick out a little farther than the headlights, right?
Yeah.
But it still goes back a little bit too. Well, let's do this one pew then.
Maybe we ought to, like, drill that one headlight spot deeper so the headlights are inset a little
Well,
more.
we're gonna inset them. Come on, turn the handle. Watch your flag.
First, you gotta make some sawdust. Then you gotta wait till it gets swept off. Should start sweeping any minute.
Any minute, yep. It's gonna start dragging. That flag will start dragging, and then we'll know we're deep enough, right? There it goes. It's starting to drag. See it folding backwards?
Yep.
At the bottom, nice and straight. All right, so that's got some wood out of the way, right? The reason I did that is because remember having trouble removing that ingrained wood last time?
Yeah.
This should make it easier to remove that wood because there's not so much to remove, right? A little bit more. Tap, tap. Okay. A little harder. You're getting lighter and lighter every time. Okay. 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 Watch your chisel, bud. You're not just banging. Look it up. You gotta stop. See? Okay, so I'm gonna chop all this out. Get that mostly straight.
Hopefully. When you get into the bear rank, you really ought to try whittling. It's loads of fun. Last year when we did a SpongeBob boat, I think the boat motor stuck out too much and...
Yeah, it did. We had to put it in the back seat, didn't we?
Yeah.
Still was all right. You still got third, I think.
Yeah.
Even with that.
And with the curvy front on your car, make sure you get a bit of music wire there so you don't crush the front of your car up.
Yeah, well, it's got to hit that pin. Remember?
Yeah.
On the Pinewood Derby car track, they use a pin to hold the cars back, and if you don't have some kind of a bumper there, then it can't hold the cars back, and they'll come off at an angle, right?
Maybe we should tap a little bit of music wire in there to act like a little music wire bumper.
No, I think we got a good front on here. It'll work.
If it's kind of squarish, it shouldn't crumple up. Not curved upward like the SpongeBob boat was.
All right, let's get this corner. I gotta be very careful here because we already broke this corner loose.
Yeah.
We'll glue that back on, but I want to. If we glued it now, we'd have to stop working until it dried, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna fight it for a little bit, and then we'll fix the glue. We want to use this one because it's wider, and that'll cover more of our lines. So if we start on this corner, it'll allow us to use a big flat to keep our line nice and straight.
It'll cover more ground. I think I made a good choice on the Charger.
It's a good looking car.
I don't think it looks as good as a Cadillac, though. One of those really old ones with big wings sticking out of it.
Well, maybe next year we can do a Cadillac.
I just hope their little boxy thing doesn't have a lid.
What boxy thing?
They once put our car in a box
Oh,
last
the
year.
height isn't the regulations. We're using the regulations. Remember, we read the rules. The reason I was reading the rules is to make sure. They don't say how tall it has to be. They say how wide it has to be, and how long it can be. I don't think we have a height problem.
So big wings would probably be okay if they're on the back and not sticking out the side.
Yeah, you can't stick out the side too far because you got to stay within that. I forget what it was, 2.5 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
We'll look here. It was 2 3/4 or something. Anyway, got the regulations right here, right? 2 3/4 wide. That's as wide as it can be. Full width. All right. So when I got that done, is that pretty even on each side?
Pretty good.
This end grain came out really rough. But I think it might end up looking a little bit like a grill. You know what I mean? The rough texture. So I might leave it.
If we roughed it up, we could make it look like there's a radiator behind it.
Maybe.
Since radiators have a rough texture, if you've ever felt a tractor radiator.
So, can you fish all that wood out of there? Use whatever you need, like this,
I think a scribe will work.
to get all that wood knocked loose and blown out of there, okay? And I'll go cut this off.
Speaking of, as words ending in scribe, you can subscribe if you would like. Can I unlock it to shake them all out?
Yeah, I guess if you can get it, let's get it out of there and see if we can just turn and use gravity, right?
Yeah. Looks like we'll be running into our old friend Gravity.
I think we got her. All right, so what we gotta do is we're gonna put this dowel in here,
Torn.
all the way flush.
If the side actually popped all the way off, we might be able to chop it using the grill.
I want to mark this because we want this to end up roughly in the right length, right? And that's not very much deep, right? It ain't go too bad. So let's get this cut off real quick. And then I'll glue it in. And we'll glue that side back on too, right?
If you're just gonna hold it on the vents, make sure you don't cut into the bench.
Yeah.
Especially, you definitely don't want to use your mom's dinner table. You'll get shavings and you might put a bunch of notches in it. And you're gonna eat dinner on that later, mind ya.
All right.
It's a better idea to use a workbench than a dinner table.
So we got that cleaned, cut off the right length. Need that file back. Make a roughly flat spot on it, right?
I suppose glass might also work for headlights.
Yeah, if we could find the right size, that'd be hard to cut, right?
But the jeweler saw is made for jewelry glassy stuff,
And it won't
right?
cut glass. I mean, you could get a blade, I think the diamond blade for it or something that would cut glass, but that'd be a lot harder to do. All right, go get the glue. All right, so we're gonna put a little glue in that hole. And while we're doing it, we're gonna re-glue this side that broke loose, okay?
Okay.
I think it's probably, oops, that's too much glue.
Oops.
Find some kind of a scrap piece of wood here. That might work.
Even if you're gonna work on the back after you glue it, make sure you wait. Because the back might just shake all the glue
All
out
right,
of
so we
the
knocked this glue joint loose right here, right?
Right.
We're gonna work some glue into that. Let's see if we can get that to glue back.
You might be able to put a real working radio in it if we could find a radio tiny enough.
It'd be a pretty small radio.
But then you need a small radio station and an extra small guy to run it.
All right, so we'll get that glued too. And I imagine when we stick this in here, a lot of that glue is going to squish right out at us. There.
Make sure you don't use the whole bottle, because that's going to mean you got to take a bath in some sort of chemical that night.
Well, water pretty much removes this.
Oh,
So,
don't make a submarine for your Pinewood Derby car.
yeah, there. Come
Even
on.
if it's in the interest of science,
Get out of there.
please don't use wood glue.
All right, so I got glue on it. Let's get some extra glue out. Get the excess glue out of here. Too much glue. There we go. All right, we want that plug. Oh, let's put the other end. Wah! Why do I keep sticking in there the wrong way? Wah. I keep getting in there the wrong way.
Well, doy.
You get in there the right way, right? And we'll have to smooth this back off when we're done, but we'll make it work.
Yep, we'll make it work.
All right, get that in there.
We were kind of lucky I had that Lego charger.
Is it driving in there? All right, filled our hole up, right? We'll cut that off flush. I'll be ready to go. We're going to clamp this side together, though. There we go. Let that glue up.